Darren, first of all, a quick look at the fixtures. You've been granted a pretty tough month in the opening few weeks of the season. When you saw those for the first time, what did you make of them initially?
Yeah, no, I think it's great. There's excitement because it's the start of a new season. Irrespective of who the opposition is, it's always going to be tough because the first month of the season is always tough because everybody's trying to find their feet and trying to find their rhythm and everything else. So to start off with the first game of the season, for it to be an away fixture, it's great. It's not too far. It's great for both clubs. And now we know where we are in the first game. It's now starting to prepare for that in pre-season.
Does it help a manager when you kind of have a rough idea of how much travelling you'll be doing, when games might be, so you can start to have that in your mind?
Yeah, because myself and the staff can sort of look at the first couple of months of the season, and you kind of detail in terms of where you're going to be, the distances, the turnaround of games, the close proximity of games, and what we need to plan and prepare for. So by seeing that now, you can really get to work and really start getting some detail in and start your planning and preparation for pre-season and for the first couple of months of the season.
I imagine there were ones that you would be looking out for, Doncaster being one of them, but also a lot of the fans will be looking at the games against Crewe too, because they're the real kind of derby fixtures. So from your point of view, how do you look at those? Do you kind of look at the derbies and ones against clubs that you've managed as well and try and pick them out a little bit?
Yeah, for me, it all brings a real excitement because the start of a new season campaign, the slate's wiped clean, we start from scratch and we start working from there. So you look at the first couple of games of the season, you look at Christmas time, where you're going to be, Christmas, Boxing Day, New Year's Day. I always look at the Easter fixture because there's a quick turnaround of games there. So those are the bits and pieces, and of course there's one or two old clubs in there, but I've played for it at the level that it's great to come up against them. You speak about the local derby that we've got against Crewe. They're all fixtures for us here at Port Vale that add a little bit of extra spice to it and more of excitement to it, really. So for me, it's just really the fixtures are out, but we've got sort of 6 weeks of pre-season to get our teeth stuck into and get the squad best prepared for that.
You talked a bit about that. It's kind of a reset button now. Is that how you were looking at it?
Yeah.
And to kind of not learn from last year, but to get that mindset out of it, that mentality out of it, and start afresh.
Yeah, and I think that's been the biggest thing. I don't think there's not. There is one or two positives from last year, when you look at Bailey and that, him coming through and doing well, but apart from that, not too many. So we want to sort of try and forget about last year, but use last year to serve as a driver for us this season, really, in terms of last year, in terms of what not to do, and this year what we need to do better in order to make it a successful seasonal campaign. So those are the kind of things we're looking at, but and it starts from day one, really, in pre-season, and start sort of putting the work in. There's no easy way around it. It's just putting the work in, and that's certainly what we will be doing. And then as the season approaches, the squad will take shape, which it does, and then we're making sure that we're competitive on all levels, really, for next season. So, or I should say, for this season coming up.
You've already started to freshen things up with, Ryan Crowsdale, Ronan Curtis, Jaden Stockley, now Sam Hart as well. If we can go through some of them, starting with the centre forward in Jaden. What have you seen in him that makes you think he's going to be a good fit for your Port Vale?
Yeah, no, I think it was important for us getting Jaden in. I think Jaden will be big for us because he's a target man. We can link play off him. He's a nuisance for defenders. He's a quality player. He can score goals. He's all-round persona as an individual, on the field and off the field. For the younger players, he's fantastic. So really, for me, to get Jaden in at this football club is a real good signing for us, and I'm really pleased to have him on board. And just delighted to be working with him. I've tried to chase him before at my previous clubs and didn't quite get him, so I'm really pleased to have security services here at Vale Park.
He's been prolific at this level as well before, and that must have come into your thinking when you looked at it, because he is, as well as being a target man, he's a goal scorer too, which is something that Vale haven't really had for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think it was important that it was one area of the pitch that we wanted to strengthen, and looking at him, and obviously we talk about Ronan in a bit, adding those two at that top end of the pitch just give us that real creativity and that goal threat, which is what we've wanted. So to add Jaden into it, he'll give us so much in and out of possession with our game. That'll be instrumental to us this season in having him up there. So we're really, really pleased, and it's a good signing for us.
Ronan, we've talked about previously, but for the people who may not know a lot about him, he's a forward player, he's an attack-minded player, and again, symptomatic of the type of player I imagine that you wanted to bring to the football club.
Yeah, he brings drive, he brings creativity, he assists goals, he scores goals. So to have him, Ronan, to attract him to where we was at and the project that we've got is credit to us as a football club, because he wasn't short of one or two offers. So to have him in, we're really, really pleased. He's a clever player, he's a technical player, he's an aggressive player. All those roll into one with him. And he's hungry and thirsty, and he's probably feels that he's got probably unfinished business. So it's great to have his appetite, his temperament, and I'm just really pleased that the Vale fans will get to see him. And if we can get him back to anywhere the levels that we know he can perform, then he's a good player, and I'm sure the fans will be excited by him.
Ryan Crowsdale brings title-winning experience at this level as well, and he adds a bit more depth to that midfield, and a bit of steel and a bit of grit in there too.
Spot on, yeah. All those. I'm just going to echo those words. Is that, back-to-back promotions, knows what it is to win, knows what it is to be consistent over a season, and knows what it takes. And we wanted that in there. He brings that depth to the midfield. He brings that competitive edge to that midfield. And it's what we wanted, really. So I had no hesitation in signing him. I'm really pleased for getting him, because we had competition from the level above. So I'm really pleased, and it's another real good signing for us. And I'm really looking forward to working with him. A solid character, a consistent character, and I think he'll add so much to us, really, in terms of going forward. So to have him in our midfield with his experience, his know-how, and his drive can only but benefit us.
From all those players, they all seem to have a certain profile. They're really experienced. They know this level very well. Is that something that you've gone out consciously to try and get? Is experienced pros at this level who know the division and can add that extra expertise to the group that you've already got?
Yeah, I think certainly for League Two, there's a certain type of player that you need to operate at this level, that knows and understands the level. And I think we've recruited well in that department, in the experience, but not just the experience of the boys. They have a desire to want to keep improving, want to help the club, move the club forward, and want to be part of it. So to get those players in with that experience, that knowledge, that understanding, and they're all still at a real good age, really, to operate at this level. We had no hesitation in bringing them in when we heard of their availability. So credit to, as I said, the football club, because in speaking to them, it wasn't clean, it wasn't straightforward. Because why? They're good players. Why? Because you got other interested clubs in their services. So to secure them, we're really pleased.
You're obviously being backed then by the ownership to be able to get this club back up to League One at the earliest possible opportunity.
Yeah, no, here, right from above, through Carol and Kevin, Patrick, the family, Matt Hancock, recruitment team, Tom, myself, all working open. Transparency is key in terms of why we're bringing the players in, why we've targeted the players, and why we feel we need them in the team and the jobs that they'll do for the team. So I think that's been key. I've been really, really encouraged by that. And I think as a group of people, we've been really open and transparent. There's never been a knee-jerk reaction that some things come out the blue, even though we know football can operate at times like that. That's not been the case. So we've been open and transparent. We're open and transparent with hopefully one or two more in the future. But we're all working together as a group, as opposed to individuals. We got an open communication lines right along the way, and I think that's really important.
Just to preempt my next question there, actually, you are envisaging more, I take it then, are you? You're not complete with what you want to do so far?
We would like one or two more, because I still feel that there's still one or two more in areas in the team that we feel could help and benefit more if it's possible to do so. But again, with me saying that, the right players have to be available, because they won't just be for the sake of signing a player just for the sake of signing it, because what good's that? We're bringing players that we feel that will have the right impact that we want at the football club, and will give the team the right balance for the seasonal campaign ahead. So we're just looking at all areas of the pitch, but looking at all areas of the pitch and looking at what individuals are available and what individuals can we be in the market or in competition for, to try and get them in. And if they're right for us, we will do, and hopefully that will benefit the team for next season going forward. So yeah, we keep looking onwards.
What about going the other way? You haven't got quite now a big squad. I think lots of people will understand it can be difficult to move players, particularly when they're under contract. But what movement do you envisage maybe between now and when the season starts of the current crop who are still here?
Yeah, no, difficult to say with the current group, and like everybody else, we've had one or two inquiries, but nothing solid and complete really. So we're just working as accordingly as we do, and continue to work and continue to try to add, so we got some depth to the squad, and add some real competition. We want some real competition here at the football club, because there's competition on the field against opposition, but there's got to be competition amongst the group themselves, and I think that can be healthy for us going forward. So we'll continue to look at that and apply ourselves with that one. But in terms of anybody going out at the moment, then we have no news.
I need to mention Bailey, of course, who's obviously had a lot of interest and exposure over the summer as well. No doubt you'd like him to continue his development here, but it's inevitable he'll get linked, isn't it, with other football clubs, just because of how well he's done at such a young age.
Yeah, and the player he is, but we see Bailey very much part of our plans for the up and coming new seasonal campaign. He's a wonderful talent, and I see him playing a particular role in the team for next season. So at the moment, I can understand all the hype around him, because you will when you're his age and you're scoring goals at a senior level. So we'll just continue as that. I don't think we can spend more time on looking at it, because we're just going on the what ifs. But at the moment, I'm just focusing on him being in the team, and then we'll go from there.
To look at your pre-season programme then, you've got your friendlies booked in now, you've got some good games in there, Luton, Bolton, as well as the local non-league, you're down in Bath as well. What is that pre-season programme going to look like, not just in terms of the fixtures, but in terms of what you want to do with the squad around fitness and tactics and that type of thing? What's that going to look like?
No, we're always detailed with the pre-season friendlies and what the games look like and what they need to look like going forward. And I always have that volume of games, because I think it's important for the squad and the group of players to have that volume of games. We're really pleased with the games we've got. The games will test us. There's some real strong opposition in there that'll ask questions of us as a group, and I think you need that. I really do think you need where you're playing against all types of teams that is going to ask questions of you in different ways. And I look at our pre-season program, and I think, I'm happy with the pre-season program, and the players need to feel what the pre-season games are detailed for, and they've got to feel that suffering, if you like, from what the type of games what they've got in terms of the workload they're working under, because it'll all bode well for the season. So when I look at the games, I'm thinking they'll ask questions of us, that's for sure. But that's their detail, and they've been put in for that very, very reason, and that's why I'm pleased with them. That it's a tough pre-season in terms of fixtures, but they are what they are. But the season's coming up; it's going to be a tough season, so let's start that toughness in pre-season.
It's part of it as well. You start with the non-league fixtures, and then you go up to a Luton 11, and then Bolton, which is kind of near to the level that you're going to be at. Was that something conscious as well, to try and build up that level of opposition to the point when you do start the season on the opening day that you've been playing increasingly, shall we say, more significant opposition up until that point?
Yeah, and we've got Coventry in that. We got Luton, you got Bolton. We've got a game against Burton Albion as well in that. Teams that you're starting at a lower level, but you're starting to work up. And I think it's really hard because as the level in pre-season increases, so does the opposition increase, and it increases with the opposition because your pre-season, the lads are getting blown off the cobwebs and getting up to a level that's expected. And they'll be pushed beyond that level with the opposition that we've got. But it's what we want, and I think it's important for the group. So in terms of the pre-season games, we're happy with them. We're grateful for the opposition taking on the games and helping us to benefit and get to where we need to get to, the group of players are. So there's a lot of work ahead, but I'm really looking forward to it because this is a time that you get to spend some real good time with the players, some good time on the training ground, where you can implement sort of morning and afternoon sessions, really, really good. So it's quite an exciting time to come back in, and we'll get going from the beginning of next week.
I think I'm right in saying you're away as well, aren't you, to Wales for a bit as well. How important is that going to be in terms of building in the new signings and bonding the squad together?
Just that, yeah, because when you go away from home and you're in a secluded location, it does build that bond with the players, it does build that level of understanding. And it gets that group cohesion together and get them right, and it gets the focus on training. So for us to go down there and have that training camp, it's a wonderful training camp. I've been down there before. It's a good training camp for the group of players and the staff to really get some real solid work in. So I'm really pleased with that. And as I said, the planning of the pre-season towards the end of the season was good. And you have a plan and you have a structure, but you got to infill that structure, and we've done that. And now it's just about, now that those have been put in, it's about putting the training program around it, which we have done, and getting ready for that start of the season.
Finally, how are you feeling? It'll be your first start, if you like, first full season in charge of Vale, and you've maybe seen the bad of Vale now. Must be hoping now you can see the good of Port Vale over this next forthcoming campaign.
Well, that's got to be all our focus for everybody connected here at Port Vale. It's that togetherness approach, that oneness going into the new season. And we've learnt a lot from, well, certainly I've learnt a lot looking at last season, and it's just putting things in place that we don't want things like that to repeat. So that's why I said it's a reset button, it's a restart for everybody. I've said it again, I'm thankful for the fans, for the warm reception that they've given me. I'm thankful for the response that they've given us with one or two of the signings that we've made. That's been really warming to see. But we're only putting parts of the jigsaw in place that we felt needed to be put into place, and it's been nice to see that those jigsaws that have been put in place has been greatly received by the supporters, because that's really important. It's really important for me that the supporters connect with the team, and the team and group of players connect with the supporters, because we're all on the same page. It's really, really important. What we've got to do now is get to work and bring that work and that energy to this football club. And if we can do that, then I'm sure that we'll all be on the same page in supporting the football club and trying to get off to a